and welcome to Author's Excerpt Sunday podcast. Today we have Laura Gabayan, and she is the author of Common Wisdom, and we wanted to talk with her today about the aspects of her book, and we want to welcome her in. Hello, Ms. Laura. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, Miss Laura, we want to know, where are you from, and what possessed you to get into writing this book. Wanted to get into, find out how did you come up with the concept to write and publish this book and the title.
It's funny because I'm a physician and I'm a researcher, and I'm Middle Eastern, and I went to medical school and residency, and then I did extra years in learning about research here at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
And I was busy publishing in academia
Mm-hmm.
in journals such as, I don't know, psychology, not just journals not in medicine, emergency medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that I was slowly starting to lose my physical abilities.
Okay.
As you can tell, my speech is not great, and my muscle was not good. My muscle function was starting to go down. So I was developing random symptoms. My body was falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a second. The institute I was involved in medicine was
Mm-hmm.
ready to put me in a box to give me a diagnosis that may have not been it. They didn't think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who did were that I thought were the wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I looked into wisdom, and I was taken aback that we have no idea what wisdom is about.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Buddha mentioned it's about humility. And so then I was like, well, I know how to do research, and I don't know anything about wisdom. And so why don't I do a research project about wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
And so I found out that only people can identify the wise,
Mm-hmm.
not computers, not tests, not
Mm-hmm.
questionnaires. And I also found out that it has an inverse due relationship with age,
Mm-hmm.
and that people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s are wise,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's different based on the region where someone's at. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
we select North America, and it has nothing to do with race or political affiliation and or gender either. And so that's why I created the Wisdom Research Project, and I interviewed 60 wise adults
Mm-hmm.
between the ages of 50 and 79
Mm-hmm.
across North America.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I wrote the book Common Wisdom
Mm-hmm.
based on how I found what's common among them. And
Mm-hmm.
I found 8 elements that were common among them. And the first being most common.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say what they were. So resilience, kindness, positivity,
Mm-hmm.
spirituality, humility, tolerance, creativity, and curiosity.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, in your process of writing this book, it is some things that we want to know. Did you have any writer's block while writing this book?
No, well, I had a great editor,
Mm-hmm.
and I was used to writing papers that were very matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
very like this is what we found research papers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the editor kind of added more soul into it.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lacking that, it's very like soldier like.
Mm-hmm.
And because I knew the 8 elements,
Mm-hmm.
I pulled my knowledge of what I had for each element. So the way
Mm-hmm.
we did it is I wrote a chapter, let's say kindness,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent to him. He put in his info, and then we went back and forth.
Okay.
So no, I didn't have any writer's block because those were the elements I found.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So in the process, um, you know, what in writing this book, what process did you go through from beginning to end in the way you correlated the book?
Well, the process was definitely, I mean, my perception of everything in the last 10 years went into
Mm-hmm.
it. And a lot of it was what the interviewee said. I did interview 60 wise individuals for my
Mm-hmm.
book, Conroism. And when I talked to them, they had quotes, not quotes, but they had sayings,
Mm-hmm.
things that I put in the book as quotes. And so that's the process. I use a combination of things I had read about, seen, research, and what they said as well.
Okay. All right. So are you ready to read an excerpt from your book for us, for the audience?
Sure. I can. I think that. Well, I'll also give you a summary, and I think the most common element was resilience, and that
Mm-hmm.
was the very first one. And I think with resilience, it's kind of viewing life. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong; it's full of obstacles. It'll have lots of ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a way of viewing life as if you're a warrior, not a victim,
Yes.
and
Okay.
knowing that things are working out and they're
Mm-hmm.
there for you and not to you. They're happening for you and not to you.
Okay.
And I think, and I always say, I'm sure in my whole life I always lived in fear. So my
Yes.
recommendation for anyone is to live in faith and not in fear.
Amen.
Just have faith that it'll be okay.
Yes.
And I think the part that I really want people to understand, so I do start the book off talking about what wisdom is, and I talk about how all the major religions talk about how important it is and
Mm-hmm.
how that's the ultimate life goal. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that.
Yes.
And but I feel like what the first chapter is probably the most important, and that one is resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talk about how resilience was most common, and what I say is, and the paragraph I guess I can describe is, although we mentally compare the types of obstacles and their gravity, all obstacles are difficult, regardless of how we quantify them. What may seem like a minor challenge to us may be a major life altering event to others, whether it be a strained relationship, health crisis, or loss of loved one. And wise people view life challenges as lessons.
Mm-hmm.
They don't view themselves as victims, but rather as students, here to learn lessons that would have otherwise never been learned.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I know that's very poignant for us to have those learning lessons in life. And so where do you see yourself as an author of 5 to 10 years?
I've been asked, what are your goals? And I'm like, well, right now, it's just telling people about the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a goal of writing more books.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I see myself doing. This took a lot, and interviewing these 60 people was, for common wisdom, was not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because someone mentioned how 60 is not a high number. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you have no idea. I would talk to community leaders, the clergy, to random, we posted on social media,
Mm-hmm.
Reddit, Nextdoor, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we did all that just to find one,
Yes.
and once I found one person, they knew a few, and then it kind of grew from there.
Mm-hmm.
So do I see myself writing more books? No.
Oh.
I have no idea what life will bring me in 10 years.
Yes.
I do hope that I can that I'm not physically disabled like
Mm-hmm.
I am now, and that I love to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I can see myself doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do you have any upcoming events? Upcoming events or things of that nature?
No, I don't have events, but I do have a website.
Mm-hmm.
And to promote the project,
Mm-hmm.
years ago, I had people go on to the wisdomresearchproject.com,
Mm-hmm.
and that links to my website, which is lauragabayan.com.
Yeah.
And both link to the Amazon site where you can buy the book.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And as I've said, the reason it's called common wisdom is because those are common elements
Mhm.
that the people had.
Yes. Yes. So, Miss Laura, do you have any advice for aspiring authors?
It all starts with the dream,
Mm-hmm.
with the hope, with the vision. And my thoughts are, and I always say an obstacle is kind of like a lesson. So
Mm-hmm.
don't let that get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Don't give
Yes.
up and keep going. So,
Right. Right.
and one thing I say to people is you don't need people to say, "Oh, I believe in you." Oh, I no, just
Mm-hmm.
do it
Yes.
because whether they do or not, they're not you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be harder, but
Yes.
just do it.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So, where can the audience find you on social media?
So they can LinkedIn, they definitely can, and Facebook, they definitely can. They can look up Laura Gaban, but I think the best way is probably through my website
Mm-hmm.
is lauragabayan.com, and also through the wisdomresearchproject.com links to my website.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All
And
right.
you know what's interesting is I have
Yes.
found that the 8 elements
Mm-hmm.
that I described in my book and Common Wisdom are really the secret to mastering life.
Mm-hmm.
They're the secret to joy, to
Mm-hmm.
meaning, to success. And the humility chapter, for example, talks about how it's the secret sauce
Mm-hmm.
to leadership.
Yes.
Humility is. So I think all those elements are really the secret to mastering life.
Oh, all right, all right. So, do you see yourself, um, do you really, do you have like meetings and things like that with other authors to talk about the topics in your book?
Well, as of right now, as I mentioned to you,
Mm-hmm.
that my speech is not great. My muscles are weak. I found out that I have chronic Lyme disease, and I was bitten by a tick when I was in college. And as of right now, no, I can't walk, so
Oh,
I don't really go talk to anyone.
oh,
My goal right now is to promote my book, so no,
all
I
right,
don't have meetings.
all right. I want to thank you, Miss Laura, for coming on Authors
Oh, of
Extra Sunday
course.
podcast. And if you would like to purchase Miss Laura's book, you can go to the book website, which is on the ticker taper at the bottom of the screen. It is the wisdomresearchproject.com, or you can go to her website, lauragabanya.com, and purchase her book, or you can find it on Amazon. Miss Laura, I thank you so much for coming today. And whenever you want to come back and talk about different things, you let me know, and you are always welcome. Okay, dear?
Thank you so much. It
Are
was
you
nice to
welcome?
meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Nice meeting you too. I want to say thank you to everyone that has been in the broadcast today. And thank you for watching Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast with my special guest, Laura Gabanya. And I want to say, if you are an author and you would like to come and be an author and talk about your book on Authors Excerpt Sunday podcast, you can do that when you come to the website, ShariceNJohnsonMoore.com, or you can come to you can send me an email, which is snjm@ShariceNJohnsonMoore.com, and get further information on how to become a guest on Authors Extra Sunday podcast. I want to thank you, Miss Laura, and I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up, and everyone have a blessed day. All right, everybody. Okay.